Alright, welcome to today's video. In today's video, we're going to talk about how to know if he's ready to commit to you. How to know if he's ready to want to wife you up. I see a lot of times modern women have a hard time finding a man who has the same intention to also get married, start a family, and get ready to go into the next phase of his life. And I see this as a big problem women have. They're choosing guys that are not really in the same mindset, as far as like the same intention, same values, same goals. So at the end of this video, you're going to know exactly, whenever you're dating someone, where he's at in his life. This is a very important video. I feel like every woman should watch this if they're in a place in their life where they're looking for their life partner, okay? Whether it's a guy that they want to get married to, or a guy that just, they're, a little bit older in their life and they just want to find a forever partner, okay? So every time that you're talking to a man, whether you're dating a guy or you're just getting to know him, you're going to see exactly where he's at in his life. And you can kind of put him into these three categories that I put, okay? So let's talk about the first category, okay? The first stage. The first stage is called the night stage, okay? Oh, I can't even see this. Night stage, okay? So what is a night stage? What's a guy who's in the night stage? Well, a guy who's normally in the night stage is usually a guy who, he's a little bit maybe younger. He can be older too. Like I've seen this all the time. They're like, basically, like if you talk about like what he wants to do in his life, you ask him, he's like, oh, I just want to have fun. I want to travel the world. I want to do fun. Like a big thing that they say is fun, right? It's like conquest. These guys are more thinking like they're not really ready to commit at all or even get married. They just want to have fun, have a bunch of casual one-night stands. Conquer, which is conquering like, something in their life, or conquering women, or conquest, or things like this. I know plenty of guys like this who they just want to do this, and they're the last thing that they want is to actually have a life partner, like get married, right? So I see that a lot of women, they like go for these guys and they think that they're going to change his mind. But if the guy's not in a place of his life where he's like looking for like a partner for life, like to really make that big decision, then there's nothing that they can do. And this is why women, get into relationships for like 2-3 years or a couple months, they get led on, and then they come to realization that they don't want to that these guys don't want to marry them. And then the worst thing you could do is just waste so much time, right? So in this video, you're going to learn how to protect your time, okay? So this is usually what happens, right? Let me give you kind of a story to kind of share this. So long story with me. For the people that don't know, I'm a dating coach. I've been in a relationship with my partner for 6.5 years. We've been married for about 1.5 years now. So we've been together for almost 7 years, okay, with my wife. And we have a baby girl. Now, before I met her, when I was single, I remember like around 2012, I got cheated on by this girl, and she like really hurt me. So I told myself that day, I was like, I'm never gonna wanna, settle down, or like, get into a place where I wanna even like, have something long-term that's like, get married, maybe I'm just going to be that single bachelor forever. So I had that mindset kind of going in that, right? So then when I would go into dating these girls, they wanted like more of like something more meaningful, something more long-term. But for me, I never wanted to get into get into the next phase of my life. So every time that I would, date, and like girls would want to like get into the next step with me, yeah, we date for a couple months, but I never wanted to be in that relationship. So therefore I just told them, hey, it's not you, it's me, And I just kept moving forward with my life because I didn't want to commit. Now, just the same way that I'm talking about, there's a lot of guys like this, I promise you, right? A lot of guys don't want to commit. They don't really want that. If they want like a girlfriend, it's just to like, for the casual and just to like to be there and stuff like that, but not really for anything meaningful. So you have to really know where the guy is at. So usually guys who are in the nice stage, that's usually the way that like we're thinking, right? We're thinking more like, oh, we just want to have fun. We just want to conquer. We want to travel, meet different women, etc., right? The other thing is like, they're not really like settled in their career. They're still kind of like finding out what their career is, or they might actually have already a career, but yet they're like, don't want the relationship at all. Like as far as like the marriage. So that's why whenever you're dating somebody, you have to know where he's at in his life. And anytime that you ask him like, oh, what are your short-term goals? What are your long-term goals? If there's nothing that has to do with family, or like, start a family or get married or etc., then there's no point in you getting into the next like level with him, as far as like getting more emotional, because you're going to be wasting so much time. So you have to know immediately when you're talking to a guy where he's at. And if he's more talking just like, I want to conquer the world and this, there's nothing that's like family anything like that, then you're like, okay, this is not the guy for me, right? So what I found is night stage is not just a guy who's young. I know a lot of guys who are like 30s and 40s, even 50s, that are in this stage still, okay? So you have to kind of know, right? So let's get into the next stage, which is called the Prince stage. Okay, Prince stage. So guy who's in this Prince stage is basically a guy who like already found his career. He's been working in either like his profession, let's say like just throwing a random profession, engineer. He's been in the engineering field for like a couple years. He already like knows like that's what he wants to do, and he wants to just continue to build on his job and continue to get into the higher corporate ladder and just continue to make more money. And he's still in that phase where he doesn't really want to like find his queen. He's just more like, oh, I'm just like have a good career, but now I'm trying to like with the money that I have or etc. I want to like travel now by myself or with friends. I like still want to like go and have fun. I still want to like try out different women, etc., 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 right? And they're still kind of thinking like that. They're a little bit more like already kind of like starting a career or having a career and doing well, but still they're in their mind, they're like, I don't really want to settle yet because like now that I have the fruits of my labor, I don't really want to like, I'd rather be selfish, right? That's how a lot of guys are thinking. So whenever you're talking to a guy, this is probably the hardest part into like understanding where he's at in his life as far as like, does he want that or does he not, right? Because there's two little things about this, right? The Prince stage could be that what I just described, or a guy who is basically like he has his career set, he has the money, he has the resources, he already like is doing well, he has pretty much all the things that he wants, but now he's talking in, I'm looking for my partner now. I'm looking for my partner. The big language here is I'm looking for my partner. This is a big one right here, right? So whenever a woman, like let's say you are talking to a guy, this is a really good question to ask him. You want to say like, oh, so like what are you looking for in your relationship life now at this stage of your life? And they're going to be like, well, like They're going to tell you, oh, well, I already went out, I already kind of like partied, I kind of already met different types of women, or I did all that. Now I'm kind of more ready to find my partner, get into a relationship, right? This is what they're talking about, right? Now, what most women do is they're like, oh, that sounds good, and green flag, right? But instead you got to be like, but why? But like, this is a big question, but why? But why? How come now? Why now? And then they're gonna be like, well, because like now I'm ready to like find my partner because I've always wanted to start a family. They're gonna like share their experience of like maybe their childhood or like the parents or something that's a little bit deeper rather than surface level. They're gonna be like, well, because like this is an example. Well, because like I've already had my fun. I already like kind of like did all the things I wanted. Now I'm kind of looking for something more meaningful. I'm looking to like find my partner and like, I want to have a family. I want to have a couple kids. Now they're talking a little bit more in the stage where they're actually looking for a wife. They're looking to get married. They're looking to have a family. This is green flags here. So this is important to understand, right? The other side is like they already have a good career, but they still are thinking in the night stage, right? So this is kind of like a tricky one, right? I would say this is the trickiest one to understand. This is where I go over with my clients who are females and kind of we dive deeper on like, okay, this is what we're going to strategize, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But they're able to know and they're able to kind of implement the stuff, and then we go back and we kind of talk, because the worst thing you could do is get very emotional about a guy, right? And then from there, it's kind of like blurry in your vision of like who he really is, because you're like kind of attached to him. You're like, oh, he's charming, etc., etc. He's like, we have super good connection. But if he's not ready to commit, it cancels everything out, right? So you got to really know this, right? So this is the hardest one to really gauge, right? Is in the Prince stage, right? So as long as you kind of like have deeper conversations, are willing to kind of have that self-worth to like actually have that conversation that might be uncomfortable, that's what's going to lead you to understanding who he is, where he's at in his life, and if he's ready to commit or not, if he's ready to find a life partner, if he's ready to get married, okay? So this is a big one right there, okay? Prince stage. Let's talk about the next stage, which is, it's called the King stage, baby. King stage with the crown, right? So usually king stage is usually like a guy who's a lot older. It depends here, right? There's a lot of different stuff. I can't go into like every single guy because then we'd be here forever. This is a quick video to like really show you guys, right, where he's at. But it's usually a guy who's a little bit older in his life. He already had a good career, right? And now he's already like basically ready to find his queen. I'm ready to find my queen. He's already built his kingdom. And his kingdom is like, he already probably has like a really nice house that he bought for himself. He's like living in it by himself. He has like, you know, good financial resources. He has a good career. He might be like kind of like getting close to retirement, or maybe he's just like continues to just be an entrepreneur or in his profession because he loves it. Now he's ready just to find his queen. And once he finds his queen, he's ready to just give her everything and like love her. And all he wants is affection and faithfulness. And like a partner, right? And like a life partner, whether that's 100% marriage, or the guy might have been divorced like a long time ago. He was younger and then he went back to the knight stage, and then now he's, you know, back into the king stage, and he's like ready to like really just settle with you know, his partner who's a woman, and like be married forever, or just have a lifelong partner, right? That might be one. The other one is just like a guy who has never been married. He's a little bit older. Or he might be a little bit younger. He might be like on the 30-ish side, but he's already like has really good financial resources. Now he's ready to find his queen. He's ready to find his life partner. He's ready to just settle down, have kids that he always dreamed of, and like continue to, you know, share that with his life, with his woman. You know, share all his success with his woman, so that he's in the king stage. So if you're looking for a guy, you want to make sure that you find a guy either in the prince stage or in the king stage, okay? Both are good because both of these guys are actually wanting to settle, right? Now, is there a lot of guys who are like king stages of like, they already built their kingdom, but yet they're not going to be faithful, or might be in prince stage, they're not going to be faithful? Yeah, that might be a possibility. So what you can do to kind of understand this is to be like, well, you know, have the self-respect of yourself and be like, you know, have a strong self-worth. You want to say something like, well, like, what do you believe in a relationship? Like, how do you see a relationship? How do you see marriage? And then the green flag should be something like, well, I see it as like, you know, us being together, us being in a monogamous relationship, like, you know, for you and me to be together. There's no like I don't want to like be with other people, anything like that. I already kind of went through that stage of my life. I don't want that anymore. I want the next step, da 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 da. And then you have to get into like, well, what's going to happen if we're together? Like, and like there's other women that like try to hit on you, or they try to flirt with you. What are you going to do then, right? And then he's going to be like, well, I don't really care. Like, you want to hear some stuff like that. This is the uncomfortable conversations that you have to have. I feel like when people don't set healthy boundaries, they don't know what's right, what's wrong, especially living in a secular world. There's no morals, right? So it's important to really kind of lay out the boundaries, lay out what you want, what you value, your goals in a relationship, what you really see in a lifelong relationship to last forever. Because if there's no right or wrong, then people are just gonna do that, right? And kind of have that like, hey, you know, I don't accept cheating. I don't want to do that. I'm not gonna do that to you. I'm gonna be faithful, etc., etc., etc. Have this type of conversation with him, right? Make it feel comfortable. Make him feel that you're gonna be, that's the truth though, because this is coming from the truth, right? You're gonna be faithful. That you want that this is what you want. And so does he. And as long as you guys both have the same vision, right? Without a vision, the people perish. As long as you guys have the same vision together, that's what's going to lead you to have a healthy relationship. And continuing to, if there's ever something that you feel, rather than brush it under the rug, you tell him right there. Confront him right there. And the guy should do the same thing to continue to have a strong, healthy relationship that leads forever, right? I'm talking about life partner forever. I'm not talking about getting in a divorce after 3 years and then doing it again and doing it again. I'm not talking about this. I'm talking about a relationship that lasts forever. Maybe you have been divorced and you're looking for that lifelong partner. Well, now you have kind of tools, you have more of understanding where he's at in his life and how to have proper conversation. Obviously, can you get deeper and like getting into more different type of conversations to kind of get to know him? Of course, there's other ways. I can't fit it on this video, but if you do want help, if you do want to strategize, if you do want to like have a proper roadmap to this that's a little bit more custom tailored to your life and to the person that you're dating, well, all you have to do is just apply on my website and we'll set up an initial consultation and we'll talk and we'll dive deeper into your situation to see what's going on and to see how I can help you, okay? But I hope you understand that every single time that you date, you can always classify a guy in these 3 stages here, okay? So if you like this video, make sure that you follow and subscribe to my YouTube channel because I'm posting weekly content every single week. And also, if you like this video, share this with a friend. Share it with someone that you know is one of your best friends that is also looking for a lifelong partner, so that you guys can both be on the same page, and that every time that you guys go and try to meet guys, you guys know exactly where they're at in their life, okay? So I'll see you guys in the next video.